You know the exact physical sensation of moving through life with full momentum, only to hit an obstacle that brings your entire existence to a dead stop. Today, that violent halt usually arrives as an unexpected medical diagnosis, a sudden job loss, or a total financial collapse. Over 3,000 years ago, King David wrote down this precise experience of running headfirst into solid stone in the ancient Hebrew text of Psalm 18:29. That immediate, terrifying feeling of paralysis you get in a crisis is a timeless human condition, documented in meticulous detail by people who survived the ancient world. David wrote a very specific phrase about endurance: "With my God, I can scale a wall." For anyone living in the 21st century, that phrasing creates an immediate problem. When we hear scaling a wall, our brains conjure up a minor domestic boundary. We naturally picture hopping over a garden fence or climbing a suburban brick divider between yards. Because we picture something small, we create a massive psychological trap for ourselves. When we inevitably fail to clear a major life trauma, we feel weak, subconsciously measuring our failure against a 6-foot hurdle. Visualizing our crises as small obstacles completely erases the sheer scale of power required to actually overcome them. Surviving a modern crisis requires us to completely abandon our modern context and confront the terrifying, massive scale of the ancient reality. David's text actually begins with a moving threat: the troop. Historically, an ancient troop operated as a highly coordinated, lethal band of armed warriors. They moved in unified formation with shields raised and bows drawn, designed for total destruction. The math of that encounter is brutal. For a lone individual on foot, facing an active military unit of that caliber meant certain death, barring some kind of superhuman intervention. In our lives right now, the troop represents those active, evolving crises, the compounding emergencies that demand aggressive, continuous forward movement just to survive. Then the text shifts to the static threat: the wall, and we need to strip away any idea of a decorative property line. Ancient capital cities were defended by gargantuan, multi-story stone fortifications engineered to dominate the landscape. This architectural schematic shows the true scale of that engineering. Notice the tiny human figure at the base. These structures were specifically built to stop entire invading armies and completely negate human muscle and bone. Every defensive feature is intentional. The sheer vertical face is constructed completely smooth, aggressively denying any handholds or footholds. Without heavy, mechanized siege equipment, scaling this face is a literal, physical impossibility. The wall is a machine designed with a single operational objective: to permanently halt forward progress by making individual human effort entirely useless. Stand at the base of a 1,000-ton stone barrier, and the massive scale makes your body feel incredibly small. The rock casts a long, suffocating shadow, creating a cold, unyielding permanence that seems to block out all hope. That exact feeling of being dwarfed by an immovable, towering force is what happens deep inside a chronic illness or severe financial ruin. Paralysis in the face of these challenges is the intended outcome. It is the precise psychological response an impenetrable barrier is engineered to create. So how do you conquer a barrier that was specifically built to be impossible for a human being to overcome? From an engineering perspective, conquering an impenetrable structure requires tapping into a power source that originates completely outside of human biology. King David describes the literal application of divine power against engineered stone, bypassing human stamina entirely. Psalm 18:29 offers a strategy for endurance that applies to mathematically impossible barriers in any era. The truth is, the walls of our lives are, by definition, too big for us to climb alone. The first step of this ancient strategy is simple. You have to stop measuring the height and the thickness of the obstacles standing in your way. To survive the impossible, you have to stop looking at the cold, unyielding stone in front of you and tap into the limitless divine strength